trip starts. We just left Scottsdale, and now we're bound for Sedona, Red Rock Land, and the psychic vortexes. So I think it's about a 2-hour drive. Nice weather. We're in a zippy little red Jeep. So wickedly excited. We went to a workshop about mediumship and bridges between heaven and earth, and they saw red rocks around me. So let's just see what we're going to find. So here we come.
Before we pass, that's called Chimney Rock.
It's the one with the 3.
Yeah, from this side it looks like 3, but usually it just looks like 1 thing from the other side. Thunder Mountain's the tallest peak, and that's covered by the clouds now. And then, that's actually, it gets hit by lightning 600 times a year.
Really?
Because
that helps charge things up.
Well, part of the energy in Sedona is that there is really high mineral content, a lot of iron, a lot of silica.
That's what makes the red.
So yeah, the silica is what draws the electricity in, hence the lightning. The iron, because the vortices are said to be these electromagnetic spirals that come off the earth. They come off everywhere. But in Sedona, like the magnification, like iron plus magnetism, there's more of a pull to the earth. The silica pulls in that electricity. So there's just quite a palpable effect of the energy from above and below.
So there's this confluence, in other words, of all this.
Yeah. There's also geologists who found a slab of quartz crystal under Sedona. It sticks up everywhere. I see it when I go hiking. There's a lot of underground water. That combination, there's an increase in frequency. Recently, someone was telling me they watched a documentary about Egypt. The pyramids have that underneath.
Yes, I
saw. Oh, okay. So that adds to it all
and
the
water
elements.
transmutes energy easily. A lot of psychics will use water.
Exactly. Because you'll notice when you come into Sedona, like in Phoenix, it's so much greener. It's just, it'll always have water, they say. Well, that underground water at the end of the Colorado Plateau, water comes off of there. The Oak Creek comes down from Flagstaff, so there's just always this flow of water in Sedona. And I mean, like I said, the crystals that I see sticking out and the silica makes everything sparkle. When I go hiking, sand is sparkling. The bigger rocks look like glitter. I love this side.
Vista. Really?
Well, we're going to go to a spot called Rachel's Knoll, which is said to be the third eye chakra, according to this person called Nicholas Mann, who plotted. Sedona has 3 ley lines. What I did find out is that most sacred sites run through a ley line. Sedona has 3. So like Glastonbury, Stonehenge, pyramids, they all have ley lines that go around them. They go directly through certain spots. When I first came here, I felt this spinning, like quite intensely. I'd have to put my hands
like a vertigo
down.
type spin?
Yeah. Like I was really going like this, and quite strongly, because I'd have to steady myself. And it wasn't continuous, it was off and on for 2 days. And I noticed the slightly rocking feeling from deep meditation. This is way more pronounced. And then I was like, okay, I feel there's something here on this land. Doing this job, I've noticed like how easy it is for people to access a state of peace in their mind and to start to move energy through the body, to actually feel it. If they've never felt energy before, do certain things with them and they'll start to feel it. And you're like, okay, this is real. It's actually something that can be felt and experienced. So that's what I love doing, and more than anything, I feel the space here holds an energy for people to open. Well,
this feels much more embracing than just coming in and on 179 and taking pictures of a couple of formations.
Yeah.
This feels very enveloping.
Yes, Boynton Canyon, there's a lot written about it. So with what I started explaining, the vortexes and that being the channel, the 7 ones, 4 of them, Bell Rock, Cathedral, Boynton, and Airport, is being said they're either feminine or masculine. And then the scientists said it's not so much feminine masculine as it is energy spiraling up or down. So the ones beyond the being said that Cathedral, which is by the creek, is feminine, Bell Rock's masculine.
Foundation. My grandmother's personal talisman, the spiral always going up. So it's very funny.
That is how it feels. So then the scientist said the ones that are by the water, it's more magnetic. So he said that energy spiraling down. The ones that are considered feminine, the ones that are masculine are higher up. They're more electric.
Oh,
so that
figure.
energy
Yeah, who made
spiraling
them?
up.
Yeah, figures. Yeah, who wrote this theory? But anyway, yeah, okay.
So he was quite adamant about going to meditate at the different ones, if it's going up or down, whether to connect to higher consciousness or to go within to deal with stuff within your system. So Boynton Canyon here is the only one that's masculine and feminine. And because when you go in, it's quite moist and then very high walls, so it has that magnetism and the electricity. This woman, Rachel, she came here in the 80s and she was so inspired by the land. She was drawn to it. And she spent a long time trying to find the perfect spot. She found this knoll that she bought and all the land up around it, and she wanted to share it with the world. And she would give spiritual meetings here.
And her name again was?
Rachel. Rachel Petty Lunt. You'll see her thing up there. But then she had a stroke and died in 2003, so her kids sold the land to developers. Hence the golf course. Her will said you need to leave the knoll open for everybody.
Right.
It wasn't for a long time. There was a whole legal battle. But now you can't. You just pay $3 and you get to do it. To me, again, it's the combination of everything, like the quartz, the rocks, the minerals, the water.
It's like the perfect storm.
Exactly.
All this, putting this.
Exactly. This is the third eye. And then I'll show you where the crown and stuff is.
And I'm feeling
A lot of times,
you know, like when you stand up too fast.
people usually also, women in particular, get emotional and they'll just start crying for no reason. There's
Oh, well, that's me. We've got a big one.
She brought up everything around her. We're going to walk down here and I can show you. Unfortunately, you'll see the golf course. And what also shows you that it's everywhere are the twisted trees, if you've heard about them.
No,
So the junipers generally grow straight.
I wouldn't know a juniper from Manhattan.
So that's a juniper. There are 5 different species, but in Sedona they're twisting. Not all of them, but the base is twisting, the branches are twisting.
As to how a normal Jupiter.
Juniper grows. They don't normally grow like
That's interesting because they're
Yes.
Yes, of
They're
course.
growing with that spiral. So it's everywhere in Sedona. So it's not just those 4 main spots. You'll see the twisting trees. So that's why I know that the energy is everywhere. And some people
I
say,
can't believe that I hear that I've lived with that damn spiral all my life, and now I'm finding what the living spiral. What is?
there
That's
is something
bizarre.
about the spiral.
Careful.
I don't want you falling with the
Camera.
Yeah, never mind you, my daughter. I'm just worried about the camera.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, except for that house. I was really impressed until that.
Well, you could use road.
And not necessarily in the manner in which we would like it.
Yeah. This is her knoll.
Okay.
And she owned all of the land around.
Wow.
Everybody every night. Exactly.
I will.
Wow.
Every
Oh, it
branch
is twisted.
is
Hannah, look at
Yes.
that.
twisting.
Crazy.
Every branch is, and then I've tried to find another explanation, and the only thing that people have come up with is wind.
Yeah.
It would have to consistently blow.
But it's constantly. Yeah, because it would.
It wouldn't.
How would it make the turn?
Yeah, no. It would need to be very consistent.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
I found out what these panel on it. Great. Maybe it's an amalgamation. Like I said, there are the two, my PF science spiral and my woo-woo, and here I am.
You're at the meeting
Exactly.
Exactly.
I found spirals in both. This is good. Don't go too many. And this is when my maternal thing didn't. This is when my maternal, my umbilical cord, what's left of it, started to twang. What are you feeling, Anna? Because
Nothing, because I'm filming.
you're filming, so you don't have time to take it in.
Juniper just they grow very.
That is really.
When I was just looking up sacred sites, what did stick out to me were that sacred sites are usually places of immense beauty, because that access point I've noticed for people to actually get out of the mind and the body and expand into consciousness. I mean, how could you not with this? Like to start to feel that there's something greater than your mind, body, your idea of mind and body. You start to connect to that consciousness that's everything. So when I guide people into meditation, it really is starting to, especially doing it outside in Sedona, connecting to the elements, to start to see how permeable your system actually is. That it's not the set solid thing that we perceive. For me, the feeling here, and not just in the canyons, but there's such a palpable, once I get people to quiet the mind, a palpable essence of being held. Like the energy really embraced and holding, and I feel that very strongly. There's an energy that just holds you, that you can start to relax, to open,
To sort of lay into.
Yeah, to lay into and to start to surrender. Because I think that, to me, with the essence of any spiritual movement, it's the surrender beyond the mind, body, understanding, to access those high states of consciousness, so that we can actually recognize what we are. Because we're still in the delusion of believing we're something that we're not.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Yeah, we have all these preconceived notions.
Exactly. And it's actually unwinding the mind, like letting go of all the preconceived ideas and beliefs and starting to access that. So Sedona is helpful.
Anna, stop filming, and I want you to feel. Now, isn't this gorgeous? The warmth of the sun. It's good to be alive. Yeah, we've just spent 2 days trying to do exercises and stuff. Getting in touch with ourselves. So,
What have you been doing?
well, a lot of guided things, but in the morning, you know, that early morning reverie, and to try and be in touch with your guides, your all, you know, your family, whatever. Ask for intentions or whatever.
Careful. Mom. Okay.
Well,
You're fine.
well, I'm fine. It was very graceful. Now
She didn't make any hard contact.
There was a reason for that.
When you're ready,
Of course, once you get a crane. Are you filming this?
Yeah,
This is not
unfortunately.
my best angle.
Grab my hand.
Thank you very much.
Honestly, the way you
No, it was very
the way you fell, there was no hard impact of anything.
Look at that.
Oh yeah, yeah, my new best friend.
Oh, this isn't a photo. This is still video.
Oh, that's a oh well.
I'm sorry, I'm there to help
Do that. Do that.
She was fine.
I'll stand by your thing so we get that into.
Oh yes.
The one on the other side's better.
Okay, should we go to the other side? They'll get both.
Well,
Cool. Oh yeah, get that because
Perhaps I'll take a still
you have
shot of
Rachel's
this.
nose parking.
Oh yes,
And you've
that's
got
good.
Lynn.
All right, Mom. All right, director. Calm down.
people place too much importance on chakras,
No, I
auras,
know.
all that stuff, crystals. To me, that just everything is a symbol. Like even with psychology, like and people place more importance on scientific or than the woo. People push that away. They place more importance on the woo, and it's all the same thing. Like what are we using to access knowing in our mind what actually works for you? Because if that shows up, then that's what's relevant. Like it ain't about the crystal. It ain't about the scientific study.
Well, they're just tools. Well, not the scientific study, although that could be a tool. But that's a tool to turn yourself off because you're so but you're so engaged in the scientific methodology and the rigidity
Yeah.
of what you're trying to put together that nobody asked the psychic.
So again, this is this side of Thunder. There's Chimney Rocks.
Yes, I see. When we first started out, right?
And then Coffee Shop.
So we've done a big circle somewhat, haven't we?
So we're gonna go around. But Sedona's not the only place that has crystal trees. Flagstaff on the top.
Mm-hmm. Very vivid.
You can go sideways.
Yeah, I think I
Sideways
prefer
is
that.
always better.
Well, I don't know why I didn't come to this realization when I was younger that I should be exploring this kind of stuff.
Well, all trees are. It's true. So the ley line runs through here.
Put
So-
that on, say that, you
I'm on.
So it goes through that. So that little round mound in front, can you see it?
Yeah.
That's called Sugarloaf. So,
yeah.
so the ley line runs through there, and where we were, Rachel's Knoll through here, and then through those twin buttes there. That's what it is. The mental mind then keeps these experiences away. When you try and analyze it too much or want to understand it, then it's just like somehow it's gone.
Yeah.
When there's just a trust and a faith,
I always say it's like good sex, you know. You're busy with foreplay, and then you think, oh, this is pretty good. The whole don't cut that out. But it is.
She's just like,
I know she gets off on. I know it's not easy being my daughter, but still, but it is true.
Okay.
And good sex is energy. You know, it's not just
like, I don't want to
technique.
hear my mom talk
I know,
about sex.
I know, but it's not all technique. You know, there is a different
Exactly. Well,
component.
it's losing yourself in any process, whether it's
There you
sex
go.
or work
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the loss of the mind and just being in the action. And then that opens up that energy, that consciousness, and then we're experiencing. We're not analyzing. We're like walking. We're brains walking around.
Yeah, well, that's
Like
true.
thinking.
We're scanning
We're thinking
the thing.
about everything.
Right,
What's
for
that?
sure.
What's this? What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
Where you're not just like in the moment, having an experience. Sure. Chapel of the Holy Cross is just in front of that right butte, so that's going to be one.
And there's ley lines there too?
The ley line runs through the twin buttes. So it runs through here and through there and to a point next to the corner. So what are all my hands?
Yes, dear. My nerves are shot. It's not too spiritual to go have a shot of something to drink.
Hey, that's what it is. Say what's good.
Yeah, only I can go to the vortex and go need a drink afterwards. Because the one you said.
Flowerrock's the
Is it-
masculine, the one that can feel quite expansive. And you said you just tap into it when you take.
No,
Don't
Garrett knew Edgar Casey, and what do you call it? They had when I went down to see.
Hi there. Here we are in the Bell Rock Vista. It's a little hard to believe because Anna and I are not exactly trained for this kind of thing, but this area really calls to one, and you don't want to miss this. It's just such an enchanting place. As the sun is coming out, since it started raining this morning and we had a 2-hour vortex tour, Bell Rock apparently is the third of the vortexes of the 4 big ones, theoretically, in Sedona. Although the area, as we learned this morning, is somewhat like a large bowl that seems to attract all sorts of energies, and also apparently lightning storms, because apparently there's silica, which attracts electrical charges, so that's interesting. But in the meantime, we've come up here very uncharacteristically, and I'm going to try and duplicate or imitate some sort of guided meditation and try and do it out loud, which usually you listen to somebody else, and I should be doing this internally, but for the sake of the camera. I'm going to breathe in, breathe out. I'm going to try and clear my mind and try and just sink down into myself to be more grounded with Mother Earth and these magical rocks. And if I have any particular, manifestations, I'll share them with you when we turn the camera back on. So this is me trying to get to parts unknown. Well, I've finished my own little communion I experienced, as I did my breathing, these, with my closed eyes, flashes of zigzag. It looks like an electric current, but as I continue to breathe, that seems to dissipate, although occasionally it did appear just twice more. And I used that technique of going to what was one of my favorite places on earth, the idea that I had a key to unlock it. So in my case, I went to the south of France to my grandmother's villa, and I visualized opening the door to the garden, and sitting in her usual chair was my grandmother, and my mother and father, and my grandfather figure, Jean Val, and I asked my husband, dearly departed 5 months ago, George, to appear, because he had never been in that particular place, but I did feel him there, and I asked them all collectively what I'm supposed to do, or whatever, or if they have any messages for me, and no, I just felt gratified and reassured by being in their presence. I became emotional. I kissed them goodbye. I asked them for signs, most particularly from my husband. And I then tearfully turned and walked away, closed the door behind me, and did not lock it with that key, because I want to have the door remain open, not swinging wildly, because that's a little frightening to me, but have it, I just closed it behind me. Took some more cleansing breaths, and opened my eyes to this lovely vista. So to say that it was personally meaningful to me, yes. Did I glean something of great import as to the meaning of life, or something that was generated necessarily by this vortex? I don't know. It was a lovely experience, and one I hope to continue to practice in different locales. But I do know that this is just a magnificent setting, and I'm feeling very calm at this point. So come to Sedona, people. Well, I'm feeling very badly that our adventure in the Red Rocks and the vortexes are over, but at the same time I have this knowing that I definitely intend to come back, because there's lots more to be learned here, and yeah, onwards and upwards. So I can't wait to see where Anna and I wind up next. I hope it's going to be as successful as the Sedona tour. So till then, next time.